The tailor-made Bigfoot, the Callaway Jaws, the Titleist Loki. Sadly, I've only made one of those names up. Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. Simon down here at Burford Golf Lab. Let me know your thoughts on the wedges this year in terms of names. I can't believe some of these actually got past the marketing teams, but that's my thoughts. Leave your thoughts down below. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And I'm doing a series called Bargain Review, where basically I buy clubs off eBay and Facebook, and at the end of the video I give them away to you guys. So I bought a set of 3 wedges for £42. I took them out on the course in the last video, and today's test I'm going to be testing it against the £129 Jaws wedge. Now, if you want to win that set of 3, say you're just beginning the game, you need some wedges to get on with, then leave a comment down below, as well as leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are new. But I should probably get into why this is illegal and this isn't, and potentially this is going to be better in performance than this. So you've probably heard the word conforming being thrown about a bit, especially if you're new to the game, and I probably should explain what it means. Now, if you want to go and play golf with this wedge, you're just beginning, you maybe had 3 or 4 rounds under your belt, no one's stopping you going using this wedge. Conforming only comes down to competitive golf. The professionals had it, and then the amateurs had it, and that's how it's always been. So if you want to go and have a knockabout with your mates, I don't think they're going to stop you using this wedge, especially as you probably play off 20 plus handicap. This is conforming, I should say. Yeah, don't bring out a wedge that's not conforming. These have got V grooves. And the big difference between these 2 wedges isn't the spin rate off a fairway as such. It's more out of the rough, the wet, the dirt. Professionals had too big of an advantage of box grooves. And I say professionals for a reason. This isn't going to cure your high right weak shot with a wedge. If you struggle with wedges in general, doesn't matter what you spend on them, technique is always going to overtake, and I'll get into that at the end of the video. However, professionals especially, out of the rough, had too big of advantage with these box grooves. They're too big, which basically meant too much water, too much grass could get in those grooves, and you still had contact with the ball, i.e. creating spin, which meant that if they were in the rough, they weren't getting penalised enough. So the R&A made the rule that the grooves on a wedge needed to be smaller, therefore you can still get a great amount of spin off the fairway, so you can still get it to stop very quickly. But if you went in the rough, for example, you got penalised. Now, for the majority of you that are just starting the game, it doesn't really matter, and I know this full well, especially as I started the game late. It doesn't really matter if you're in the fairway or rough, because these are very difficult clubs to hit, especially when you're starting out. They're not cavity back, they're not strong lofted, these are basically blades. And trying to get the ball to go any distance, especially with a 58, is very tough when you're starting the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit both of these wedges, we're going to look at the numbers, and then we'll talk about technique, especially how you can get better at using these wedges, whether it's a brand new one or an older one. So I was slightly surprised by the results. As you can see, I hit 3 shots with both wedges. Now, a 58-degree wedge, by the way, I would never hit full into a green, ever. From 100 odd yards, I'm taking my 52 all day long, and you'll see why when you look at the numbers and way the ball is interacting with the green. Now, the Jaws ball speed was relatively the same, actually slightly lower with the Callaway Forge Plus, which probably means that technology has come on somewhat. My monitor doesn't measure clubhead speed, so I can't possibly say whether I swung it slower or not. It basically predicts it from my ball speed and the efficiency, so ignore clubhead speed. However, the Callaway Jaws felt better, it felt heavier, it felt more solid, and I'm a big fan of Callaway wedges, and there's no question. If I was to get a free set of wedges this year, or buy them for example, I'd probably go down the Callaway route. But spin rate is the key, because that's all we want from wedges. Averaging 11,400 with the Jaws wedge, 12,000 with the old £15 cheap illegal wedge. And the more fairer test and probably the bigger advantage you would see between these two wedges is probably if I went out, took the monitor out and actually hit these out the rough, because I think you'd see a bigger change between how much spin this can produce in the rough as compared to this. I know this has got multi-layered, multi-milled, multi-grooves over the face, but as soon as you have a bunch of grass, a bunch of water in the way, those grooves are pretty much useless. This is more efficient at getting the water out of the way as well as the grass, but it's now not conforming for those reasons, because as you've seen, the professionals wouldn't have 12,000, let's say, but would have 7,000 or 8,000 revs of backspin, which means even out of the rough, they're still getting it to stop on the green quite quickly, especially on the fast, quick greens that they have on tour. They still would be able to thread it over a bunker and still get it to stop within 6 foot. Nowadays, you can't do that with these wedges out of the rough. So for example, when you see the players play at the Masters, at Augusta, they're in the rough, they're short-sided, they have to play it 15-20 foot past, and that's basically what the conforming or the RNA rule was all designed for. So I should probably talk about technique, because regardless of whatever wedge I put in my hand, I'm not saying you're going to get 12,000 with this, I'm not saying you're going to get 11,000 with this, because actually that's a tiny bit too much. However, what I'm saying is technique is king. I struggled massively when I started this game, as I imagine probably the majority of you do, and I see so many people put 3-4 wedges in their bag and they can't use all of them, and that sounds harsh, but it's a true fact. I can use my 52-degree wedge now better than I could use all 4 of my wedges when I started this game, and I fell into the same trap. I bought 3 of, I think, SM4s back in the day, or SM3s back in the day, and I had my pitching wedge, and I couldn't use any of them. It took me 5 to 6 years to really train and focus and know what I'm doing, especially when I wanted to do my PGA degree, to actually learn how to use a wedge. I'm so good with a wedge now compared to where I was back at the start with my 4 premium wedges. And here's the number that I need you to take away from this video. How to get better. If you're struggling with your wedge play, this is how you get better at wedge play. Both of these wedges are set at 58 degrees. And this is the reason why I'd never use a 58 from a full shot. I'm launching both of these balls at the moment at 33 degrees. So that means that my hands are so far ahead of the ball. That means that the club face, even though it's 58 degrees at the start, like let's say statically, by the time I hit it, it's at 33 degrees. When I hit down on that golf ball, so much with this kind of angle of club face, that's why I'm producing 12,000 revs of backspin. Hitting down on your wedges is so important, and I'm not saying I want massive divots, but what I want to say is that yes, you're going to slightly bruise the ground, but this is the important bit. This is where a lot of you will be struggling, because you're trying to hit up on the golf ball and all it's doing is sliding, going up in the air and going nowhere. If you struggle with your 58, your 56, your 52, whatever combination, and all they ever do is go high and right, it's because your club face at impact is like that. Which means that the ball gets 0 compression and actually gets 0 spin, just goes high, floaty and nowhere. Learning to hit pitch shots, bump and runs, low punch shots with a very low lofted wedge, so let's go 50 degrees, something like that, is going to be a game changer for you. Play the bump and run till you die, because as soon as you put a 58 in your hand, all of a sudden you're going to get that low penetrating ball flight that you actually want. And it took me so long to realize this, whereas now I've got more control and I can hit high, low shots with whatever wedge I put in my hands, regardless of how much technology is behind it. You're going to create more spin with your technique than any groove out there on the market. Lastly, the reason I hit a 52-degree wedge into pretty much every green from about 80 yards out is because the numbers you just saw there. It's just too much spin. You'll see a lot of guys on tour hit these knockdown shots and they won't take a full 60, because the problem is you'll set it and it'll land at the flag but then spin back about 20 feet, which a lot of you I know are going, Simon, I want to hit that shot. But when you get to the level that you can, it's really annoying, because there's only so much green that you got to work with. Unless you want to hit it at the back of the green and the flag's at the front, you've got to zip it all the way back, then great. However, that's a disastrous way to try and play your golf. Hitting knockdown shots, 9 o'clock swings, 7 o'clock swings, 10 o'clock swings with your wedges is going to be a massive improvement to your game. And for that reason that you see the spin rate there, I'd rather get the ball to have one hop before the flag and then stop dead, rather than land it 15 foot past it and hope that it spins all the way back. Okay, the overview. Forge Plus is going to be better for your beginner. If you're just beginning golf, get a wedge that's not conforming. Why not? It's going to help you, it's going to build your confidence, and to be honest, out the fairway, very little difference. This is going to be a big advantage out the rough. However, if you want to go and play competition golf, you want to go and get a handicap, or your mates don't want you to have a non-conforming wedge, then you're going to have to get something past 2010. But hopefully you've taken away from this video that regardless of what these wedges are, technique is king when it comes down to it. These are blades at the end of the day, and you need the right impact factors to get basically the most out of them. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching. As I said, if you want to win this set of these three, not this one unfortunately, we'll get there one day, 100,000 subs, we'll start giving these away. If you want to win these, then obviously leave a comment down below, leave this video a like and subscribe if you are new. I'll try and find a beginner golfer to give these away to. But otherwise, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.